Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 10 most anticipated releases that are coming out in September. I've got a few that are honorable mentions as well. Most of them are romance. I think I've got one fantasy on here as well. Without further ado, let's just hop into the video. Okay, so the first honorable mention I wanted to talk about is A Queen of Thieves and Chaos by K. Tucker. This is the third book in the Fate and Flame series. I didn't put this on here just because I haven't read the series, but I absolutely love K. Tucker's writing. I love her Simple Wild series, and I've heard really good things about this series. So if you're anticipating this book, I just wanted to let you know that it is coming out on September 5th, but it's just not going to be one that I'm putting the description on. Okay, so the first book that I want to talk to you about is Enchanted to Meet You by Meg Cabot. This is the first book in her Witches of West Harbor series. It releases September 5th. It's got its enemies to lovers, fake dating, slow burn, paranormal like witches, and it's got some small town romance elements. So I haven't read Meg Cabot in years. I think I read her in like middle school and stuff like that, but I really liked her books back then. They're very much rom-coms, so I thought this one would be really fun, like a nice witchy rom-com. So that's why I put this on here. It follows Jessica. Jessica, when she was a teenager, cast a spell that got her in a lot of trouble, including a banishment, a lifetime ban from the World Council of Witches, or the WCW. But 15 years later, she is surprised because a handsome and mysterious stranger who is on the WCW named Derek shows up and declares her the chosen one. So basically, she now has to save West Harbor, and she has to trust and work with Derek, and they might have some certain other kinds of magic together. Okay, the next book is The Long Game by Elena Armas. I'm very excited about this one. Elena Armas is the writer of the Spanish Love Deception, and I really liked those ones. I thought they were really fun. So I'm excited about this one because it also sounds really good. It's got forced proximity, small town, enemies to lovers, it's slow burn, sports, which is soccer, and workplace, and it releases September 5th. So this one follows Adeline, who gets into an altercation with her team's mascot, which is actually also the team she works for's mascot, which is actually also the team that her dad owns. So her father sends her off to North Carolina to redeem herself after this big debacle, and she has to redeem herself by helping a struggling soccer team, which is the Green Warriors, which it said in the description was a group of 9-year-olds, and I wasn't sure if they were being they're like 9-year-olds as in they act really young, or if it was actual 9-year-olds. Unclear. But there she sees Cameron, who is both a goalkeeping prodigy and also the coach of this team. So Adeline is thinking that Cameron could be really useful for her mission on redeeming herself, but they get off on the wrong foot, and the rest is history. Okay, and the next book is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. This is the third and final book, I'm pretty sure, in the Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score. This releases September 5th. I've only read the first book in this series, but I did really like it, so I've already pre-ordered this one. I'm really excited. I really need to read the second one ASAP. But it is small town, enemies to lovers, second chance, and I think it also will have some romantic suspense elements just like the first two did. It follows Lucian and Sloane. Lucian is on a quest to erase his father's mark on their family name by building an empire, basically, and he just spends all of his time building this indestructible empire so that he is basically untouchable. And Sloane is determined to carry on her father's quest for vengeance, but she just has to figure out what this mystery person did for her family. But one night, Sloane and Lucian's bickering turns into a one-night stand, and once they've had a taste of each other, they can't seem to get enough. But they have totally different life goals. Like Sloane is ready to get married, settle down, and Lucian doesn't ever want to even consider getting married. So Lucian ends up breaking things off with Sloane, which she's very hurt by. But then he realizes that he might have put her in some danger by leaving her alone, and so he has to figure out a way to get back into her life and protect her. So the next book is an honorable mention. It's The Summer I Saved You by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is the second book in her The Summer series, and it releases September 7th. I have never read anything by Elizabeth O'Rourke, but I've heard really good things, and I heard the first one is a very angsty brother's best friend. But so I really want to get to this series, hopefully, but I may be reading this summer romance in the middle of winter, and which might not be the vibe, I'm not sure. But anyways, I wanted to put it out there that this one is also releasing this month. Okay, and the next book is Salt Kiss by Sierra Simone. This is the first book in the Lioness series. I know there was a like prequel novella, but I haven't read it. But it doesn't seem like you have to read it in order to read this one, but it probably would give you some more context. This is, like all of Sierra Simone's romances, like a dark romance. It's MM, or I'm not sure, or it might be MMF. I'm not entirely sure. And a forbidden, forced proximity, bodyguard, and arranged marriage. So Mark is a former CIA agent, and he now owns an exclusive and elite club in Washington. So you don't pay to join this club. You don't pay cash to join this club, you pay in information. Tristan is the son of Mark's sister's new husband. So he's like his step-son-in-law, step nephew-in-law. Okay, hopefully I have like the same angle. I had to stop the camera for a second, but yeah, so I was talking about Salt Kiss. Anyways, so Tristan is now Mark's bodyguard, and he is very interested in his body, preferably naked. But Mark isn't sure if Tristan is ready for what that would mean, for Tristan to be his. So Tristan's still very interested until he finds out that Mark is engaged to a woman. I feel like that's going to be a really fun book to read. Okay, and switching gears completely, the next book I have is The Name Drop by Susan Lee. This is a YA workplace romance. It releases September 12th. Oh, I forgot to mention, I think I forgot to mention that Salt Kiss is releasing September 12th. So this one follows Elijah and Jessica, who are two teens that are headed to New York City for a summer internship. But Elijah's on like a executive training plan because he is the CEO's son, and Jessica's just there to do like lowly regular intern work. But their positions actually end up getting switched because they find out that they both actually have the same Korean name. And when they figure it out, Elijah offers for them to keep the switched roles, and it's an offer Jessica just can't refuse because it's a really great opportunity. They learn a lot about themselves in their like switched lives sort of, and they end up growing really close, but when the CEO finds out, their tenuous relationship and positions at the company may be in jeopardy. Okay, and the next book is Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner. I loved Meryl Wilsner's book that was released last year, Mistakes Were Made. So I'm very excited about this one, and it is a sports romance this time. So it's sapphic just like her other book, sports romance, obviously soccer, Friends to Lovers, and Grumpy Sunshine. So it follows Grace, who's been the star of the U.S. national women's team for 10 years, but she was sidelined with an injury, and in her place, Phoebe, like a bold new upstart, takes her spot. They are complete opposites, and the last thing they expect as rivals is to end up in a friends with benefits relationship. But as the tension between them grows, they have to decide whether they care more about the relationship or their place on the roster. Then I've got two honorable mentions. The first is Tempting the Player by Rebecca Jenshak. This is the fourth book in the Campus Wildflower series. I haven't read this, but I have read Rebecca Jenshak's Wildcat series, and I did really like them. So I do want to start this series eventually, but the fourth one is releasing this month on September 19th. And Before Sunset by Laura Pavlov, which is the fourth in the Cottonwood Cove series, which has been being released this year, is releasing on September 21st. I have not read this series at all, but I've heard really good things, and I do hope to eventually start it, maybe this year, maybe not until next year. We'll see. Okay, the next book is by one of my favorite authors of all time. It's A December to Remember by Jenny Bayliss. It releases September 26th as of right now, but I have seen in a few places on Goodreads that it could be releasing, like being pushed to be released on November 9th. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm hoping that it comes out in September, but it might not come out until November. So you may see this book again in November. But Jenny Bayliss is basically, in my opinion, she's like the Emily Henry of Christmas romances, like how Emily Henry always writes like a summer romance. Jenny Bayliss always writes really good Christmas romances, and I read them every single year. I reread all of them every single year because I just absolutely love them. So I will, of course, be reading this one. I'm very excited about it. It is a Christmas or holiday romance, like I mentioned, but this one follows three sisters who are sort of navigating a strained relationship when they are forced back together after their dad dies. They have to, in order to inherit his estate, they need to reinstate the town's like winter solstice festival together, so they have to spend time doing that in order to get their inheritance. And it sounds like it's going to be super cute, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. Okay, the next book is The Fragile Threads of Power by V. Schwab. This releases September 26th. It is the first book in her new series, Threads of Power. It's an adult fantasy series. It follows Tess, who has unintentionally been involved in a plot against the crown when a thief brings a stolen magical object into her repair shop. In White London, a new child queen is on the throne, and the magic is growing stronger. And for those of you who have read the Shades of Magic trilogy, there are some cameos in this book. There's supposed to be some cameos in this book from the favorite characters of that trilogy. I haven't read it, but I do typically like V. Schwab's writing. I need to read more of her backlist, so I will hopefully pick this up at some point, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth to start another series, so we'll see. The next book is The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. This is a holiday Christmas romance that releases September 26th. I can't believe the Christmas and holiday romances are releasing already, but I guess it's time. And I've really liked all of the Beth O'Leary books that I have read by her, so I am definitely interested in picking up a Christmas book by her. So this one is an enemies to lovers, forced proximity workplace romance. It follows Izzy and Lucas, who work together in a hotel that is struggling, and if they don't figure out a way to help the hotel, it will not last past Christmas. So in order to bring the hotel back to life, they have to work very closely on a project, but that's a problem for them because there was a bit of a misunderstanding when they started, and basically Izzy loves everyone except for Lucas, and he has no idea why. So I am excited about that one. I love a good enemies to lovers. Okay, and last but not least is Time to Shine by Rachel Reed. This is another holiday Christmas romance that is also hockey, and it's a slow burn, and it just sounds like all the good tropes in it. I haven't read any books by Rachel Reed, but I've heard really good things about all of her hockey romances in the past, so I am very excited about this one. So this follows Landon, who is pulled from his AHL team to replace an injured NHL goalie for the Calgary Outlaws. And there he forms a quick friendship with Casey, who is a star winger for the team. And he is just like golden retriever energy, and he also just loves spending time with people, so he offers Landon a room in his house. But as they become roommates and bond, they realize that there might just be a bit more than just friendship between them. But Landon isn't supposed to continue to play on the team after the holidays. The goalie's supposed to be back, and Lantern will be going back to the AHL team, so they have to figure out what's going to happen once the holidays end and he goes back. They have to figure out if their like newfound love is worth the distance and the tight schedules and all of that. So I'm very excited about that one. That sounds really good. Okay, and those are all the books that I am most anticipating that are releasing in September. Let me know in the comments if there's any that I missed that you think that I would love and should pick up. If you're not already, please subscribe and like this video. It really helps to support my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.